talk to you today about inviting God into your difficulties. Most of the time we're praying, God, get me out of this challenge. Get me out of this trouble at work. Get me out of this financial setback. There's nothing wrong with that. But before you get out, you have to invite God in. Sometimes the miracle is not in getting out. It's in what God is going to do in the situation. Instead of just praying, God, get me out, why don't you start praying, God, come in to this hospital room while I take the treatment. Come into this trouble at work where the people aren't fair. Come into this anxiety that I'm dealing with. What's more powerful than God bringing you out is when God comes in and begins to change things. He comes in and gives you favor despite who's trying to push you down. He comes in and gives you strength that you can't explain, grace to outlast what should stop you. If you're only focused on God bringing you out, then you're going to be disappointed because God doesn't do things on our timetable. Sometimes it's taking longer than we thought. But when you ask God to come in, you can be at rest. God, I know you're right here with me. You are ordering my steps, and at the right time, you'll get me to where I'm supposed to be. When you ask Him in, you're saying, God, don't just change the circumstances, change me. Help me to not just go through this situation. Help me to grow through it. Help me to learn. Increase my faith. Let my character come up higher. In the same way, sometimes we look at pieces in our lives that don't make sense. Joel, I went through a divorce. I lost a loved one. I'm going through cancer. My business went down. This piece couldn't be a part of God's plan. But you have to trust that even in the painful times, the times you're hurting, you're lonely, you're taking the treatment, on the surface, that piece doesn't make sense. But God doesn't make any mistakes. He's already designed your life, laid out all the pieces down to the smallest details. And God never said that we would understand everything that happens along the way. He didn't promise that we'd never have any heartache, pain, disappointment, loss, setbacks, but He did promise that it would all work out for our good. And that piece that's painful, doesn't look like it makes any sense. When everything comes together, it will fit perfectly into place. When you go through the waters, I will be with you. When you go through the rivers, they will not overwhelm you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. It's interesting that God didn't say, I'll keep you out of every fire. You won't have to face any floods. No, He said the challenges will come. There will be adversities and things we don't understand. But the whole key to this verse is when He said, I will be with you in the fire, in the flood, in the famine. Are you trying to get out of something that God is going to take you through? Are you fighting the process? It's not fair. God, I can't take it anymore. Everything will change if you'll start inviting God into the fire. He's already promised He'll be with you. Maybe He's just waiting for your invitation. The right attitude is, God, I know you're going to bring me out, but in the meantime, I'm asking you to come in to this challenge in my health. Come into this loss I'm going through. Come into this depression that's trying to stop me. When you invite God into your difficulty, you'll feel Him breathing in your direction, empowering you, enabling you, favoring you. Is it a greater testimony that God kept you out of the fire, or that He came with you in the fire and brought you through it? Key is what we do in our times of pain. Pain will change us. Heartache, loss, disappointments, they don't leave us the same. Instead of complaining about everything that you don't like, if you'll recognize that God allowed the difficulty. I'm not saying that He sent it, but He allowed it because He had a purpose. The purpose is not so you can live miserable, worried, and afraid. His purpose is to show His glory through you. It's so other people can see His power and favor on your life. Without great test, you won't have a great testimony. Without big battles, we won't see big victories. He's not going to let it get too hot. He's not going to let it defeat me. I may not like it, but I'm not a whiner. I'm a warrior. I know I can handle this. You have that attitude, you'll come out stronger, increased, promoted, better than you were before. We've all heard the saying, no pain, no gain. If everything was always easy, we wouldn't be prepared for our destiny. Some of the things I face today, if I would have faced them 10 years ago, they would have overwhelmed me. I couldn't handle it back then. God knows what you need when you need it. Every struggle is making you stronger. Every difficulty is growing you up. Every painful time, even though you don't like it, it's developing something in you that can only be developed in the tough times. Don't complain about the pain. Without the pain, we couldn't reach the fullness of our destinies. God is saying to you what He said to Moses, I'm going with you. You're not in that fire by yourself. I have you in the palm of my hand. I'm fighting your battles. That obstacle may be too much for you, but it is not too much for our God. Right now, He is pushing back forces of darkness. He's keeping the fire from burning you. He's not letting those waters drown you. He's your protector, your deliverer, your waymaker, your healer, your provider. You don't have to do this on your own. You don't have to figure everything out. You're not going to know all the details. You have to walk by faith and not by sight, knowing that He's right there with you, that He's promised everything is going to be all right for you. We love to not have any pain, loss, disappointments, heartaches, betrayal. That's not reality. Difficulties are a part of life. Have the right perspective. In those tough times, God is getting you prepared. If it was too much, He would have turned back the temperature. He's got His hand on the thermostat. Now quit telling yourself you can't take it. You're not weak. You are well able. You are armed with strength for this battle. You are full of can-do power. He's already promised you that He would restore health back into you, that you would lend and not borrow, that as for you and your house, you would serve the Lord. Now the circumstances may look the opposite. Medical report's not good. Your loved one's off course. It's easy to live worried, upset, but can I encourage you? The Most High God is on your boat. Those winds cannot stop you. The sickness, the injustice, the people, they cannot keep you from your destiny. You might as well relax. Everything is going to be fine for you. Sure, the waves may be big, but you have an advantage. The God who controls the universe is right there with you. Now do your part. Start thanking Him that He's fighting your battles. Sometimes we bring pain on ourselves. We make poor choices, get in a relationship we know is not good, or maybe get over our head in our spending. Now it's painful. We're having to deal with the consequences. The forces of darkness tried to take you out, but God had His hand on the thermostat. He said, not so fast. That's my son. That's my daughter. I've got an assignment for them to fulfill. Everything was going great. She was in first place like expected. 8 hurdles down, 2 to go, and she wins the gold. A dream comes true. But somehow on that 9th hurdle, her timing got off. She hit it, stumbled, fell to the ground. That allowed the other runners to pass her by. She didn't win the gold, a huge disappointment. She trained her whole life for that 12-second race. Now it was over. They interviewed her a little afterwards. She said in effect, yes, it's painful. Yes, I'm disappointed, but I know now I can help other people who have fallen. When you've been through something, in one sense, you've been given a gift. You are uniquely qualified to help others struggling in that same situation. Don't sit around feeling sorry for yourself. Go out and lift somebody else up.